The dry winds of the western plains blew fiercely across the ranch lands, carrying dust, grit, and the whispers of broken dreams. Among those whispers was the sobbing of a young woman named Clara, whose life had been nothing but change since the day she said, "I do," to a man who swore he loved her. That man, Jed Thornton, had once been charming, a rancher with promises of a safe home and a future filled with prosperity. But promises can turn to poison, and love can rot into cruelty. Clara had endured his drunken rages, his cutting words, and the way his hands treated her not like a partner but like a burden. One blistering afternoon, with the sun beating down like fire and the ranch hands watching silently, Jed's temper exploded. "You're worth less than the dirt under my boots," he roared before grabbing her by the arm and tossing her violently into the dust. Her body hit the ground hard, the air knocked out of her, and the taste of earth filled her mouth. For a moment, she thought no one would move, that the world would simply accept her suffering as it always had. But then, a shadow fell across her. A tall figure, broad-shouldered, dressed in a weather duster and a hat pulled low, stepped between her and the man who had called himself her husband. His boots struck the ground with an authority that needed no introduction. He knelt, his voice rough yet gentle as he extended his hand. "Get up, ma'am," he said, steady and sure. She trembled, confused by the kindness she had not felt in years, and when he helped her rise, he turned to Jed with a fire in his eyes that could burn the prairie itself. "Not yours anymore." The words cut through the crowd, slicing away the silence, and every ranch hand lifted their heads. Jed sneered, but his swagger faltered. The stranger's name was Cole Maddox, a cowboy who had seen enough wrong in his travels to know when to step in. Cole didn't flinch under Jed's glare. Instead, he shifted slightly, keeping Clara behind him, shielding her like a wall of iron. "You lay hands on her again," Cole said, his voice low as thunder, "and you'll answer to me." Clara's heart pounded, torn between fear of her husband's wrath and the strange, trembling spark of hope ignited by this cowboy who dared to stand for her when no one else would. Jed spat into the dirt, growling threats, but for the first time, his words carried less weight, less control, because someone had stripped away his ownership with just a sentence. Around them, the ranch hands muttered, their loyalty shaken, their respect for Jed cracking. Clara could hardly believe it. Could it be true? Could someone really mean those words? Could she actually be free? Cole's hand lingered near his holster, but his calm demeanor spoke louder than any weapon. This was not about violence. This was about dignity, about drawing a line in the dust. And as the sun sank lower, Clara realized that the life she had been forced to endure might have just shattered. And something new might be about to begin. But new beginnings come with storms, and as Cole led her away from the dust, Jed's eyes followed them with a promise of vengeance. What Clara didn't know was that this moment, her fall into the dirt, and a stranger's hand lifting her, would set into motion a story of courage, redemption, and love stronger than the chains of cruelty. To all listening, stay close, because this story will remind you that no one deserves to be broken, and sometimes, the right person steps in at the exact moment your soul cries out. If you believe in stories that lift the heart and spark hope, make sure to subscribe, because Clara's journey is only just beginning. The night was restless. Stars burned above the plains like silent witnesses to a new chapter unfolding. Clara sat by a campfire with Cole, her hands trembling as she clutched a tin cup of water. The firelight danced across her face, revealing bruises, both visible and hidden, carved by years of cruelty. Cole didn't press her for details, he didn't need to. A man like him had seen enough broken souls to know their stories without asking. He simply offered her silence, safety, and the kind of presence that spoke louder than 100 promises. Clara finally found her voice, cracked but determined. "He'll come for me," she whispered. Cole's eyes didn't waver. "Let him try," he answered, steady as stone. The word sent a warmth through her chest, a warmth she had almost forgotten existed, the feeling of being worth protecting. Yet fear clung to her, and memories of Jed's rage tightened around her throat like chains. She wondered if freedom was ever truly hers to claim. Cole, sensing her doubt, leaned forward, his voice softer now. Clara, you ain't property. You ain't some mark in a ledger. You're a person. And no man's got the right to treat you less than that. His words struck something deep in her soul, a place that had been buried under years of silence. She stared into the flames, fighting tears, and for the first time in a long while, she let one fall. The night pressed on, coyotes howling in the distance, and Cole remained by her side, watchful, patient. Meanwhile, back at Jed's ranch, fury boiled. Jed slammed bottles against the wall, cursing Cole's name, swearing vengeance. His pride had been wounded, his control stripped away, and he vowed that no stranger would take what he considered his. But what Jed didn't understand was that Clara was never his to begin with. She was her own, and now she was beginning to see it. Days turned into weeks as Cole and Clara traveled further from the ranch. Each mile put more distance between her and her old life. Along the way, Clara began to smile again, small at first, fragile, but real. She found her voice in the quiet of the plains, and Cole never smothered it. He listened, truly listened, to her thoughts, her fears, her dreams. And as the sun painted the sky gold each morning, Clara began to believe in something she thought had died inside her, hope. Yet the past does not let go so easily. One evening, as they stopped near a trading post, word reached them that Jed was hunting. He was riding with men, carrying anger like a loaded gun. Clara's heart stilled with dread, but Cole placed his hand gently on hers. He can chase shadows, Cole said. But he won't ever own your light again. Those words became her anchor. And when Jed finally appeared on the horizon, shouting, demanding, claiming, Clara stood taller than she ever had. Cole was there, yes, but this time, she did not hide behind him. She faced Jed, voice trembling but strong, I'm not yours anymore. The crowd at the post fell silent, watching the woman who had once been tossed in the dust now reclaim her dignity. Jed lunged, but Cole was faster, his stance fierce, his presence unshakable. The standoff burned like fire in the air, the kind of moment where destinies are decided. Clara clutched her chest, realizing the truth, her freedom wasn't given to her by Cole, nor stolen by Jed. It was hers to claim, and she had claimed it. And that made her stronger than both men combined. Dear listener, this is not just Clara's story, it is a reminder that no matter how deep the dust, no matter how hard you've been thrown down, you can rise. You can rise with help, yes, but most of all, you can rise because you deserve to stand. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because many more tales of hope, courage, and redemption are waiting, and they might just be the spark someone else needs tonight.